look, feel about Elon Musk however you do from your politics. But let's suspend that. Let's just talk about the human being. Okay. The guy whose mom leaves South Africa, goes to live in the United States, in fact, in Canada first, then moves from Canada, goes to the US. The first job he applies for, he gets rejected from. And then some time later, he starts a company called X.com. And there are some other guys who started another company called PayPal. In fact, before he started X.com, he started another company called Zip2, right? And this was around the time when those guys had made payment by email, an actual whole thing called PayPal. And he builds this company called X.com, and there is a merger that happens between X.com and PayPal, and he takes over as CEO of PayPal. Sells PayPal for tens of millions of dollars, in fact, hundreds of millions of dollars. But being Elon, he decides he's going to take all of that money and bet it on Next. So he invests in this small, little electric vehicle company called Tesla that was running this archaic electric mode of generating power with one roadster that was hardly selling, and every 1 in 7 kept catching fire. These are the stats. Then he takes some of his money and invested in this company that's got this crazy idea to send man to space called SpaceX, and a whole host of other things. He basically bets all of his wealth on Next.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that, because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
What you've just watched is the first man on the moon, Neil Armstrong. That guy go and testify in front of the United States Congress that Elon Musk should not be allowed to commercialize space flight. Because if you are going to raise the standard, I have something to share with you. You must be ready to be disappointed by your own heroes. Heroes exist within a context. And sometimes heroes don't like the context to change. This is why sometimes the people who stand in the way of new are the ones who built the old. That's good, right? If you don't have the muscle and the kind of that spiritual muster to go where God has called you, this is why I love the journey I have had over the past 4 years, because it taught me how to reduce the noise of mankind to zero. As long as me and God are good, angnanda. Because even your own heroes will call it wrong. Read the Bible, you see it. Tons of these examples, tons of these stories. Tons of these stories. So it's really, really important for you to recognize when you are dealing with people who are used to dealing in the past, what we call hindsight.